nice to see a big crowd, especially my friends from Butterfly Circle who do not particularly feel comfortable in the aircon environment. They would rather be out there, right? Good morning, Ms. Ho Ching, Executive Director, CEO of Temasek Holdings, distinguished guests, my good friends, ladies and gentlemen. Today is right. 10-10-10. It was a date that I chose almost a year ago, and I made sure that we will all be here today. And we had also had good weather, relatively, although the weather report did mention that it was going to be a thunderstorm this morning. But the cloud seems to have blown away. And with the launch of this book today, butterflies will be given their fair share of prominence and recognition in Singapore's biodiversity. This book would not have been possible without the contributions, the support, and the help from a lot of friends. And firstly, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Ms. Ho Ching, who had generously contributed and to agree to sponsor this book on a personal basis. And I remember 3 years back, it was just over an exchange of emails about butterflies when Ms. Ho offered very generously to sponsor this book. After I told her that I had aspirations of writing this book, and that I needed a lot of impetus and motivation to do so, juggling work and my hobby. I would also like to specially thank the photographers of Butterfly Circle, my good friends with whom I spend quite a lot of weekends out there in the field. It's an online community of butterfly photographers and enthusiasts. Quite interesting because quite a number of these people are young people with a new cause, I suppose, for nature conservation. I would like to invite all the contributors. You know who you are. Please stand and take a bow. Thank you. Without you, this book would not have been as colorful and as complete as we had hoped to have it. I would also like to acknowledge the assistance of many friends who helped vet the book. Those of you who have tried writing a book, you will note that you can't see your own mistakes. And of course, my wife, Shirley, who helped through many nights and had many arguments over the use of English. And finally, special thanks to the very woman-powered team from Ink on Paper Communications for helping this newbie author, first-time author, write a book. Made so many changes. I think, Alicia, if you're in the room, you must have torn your hair out. And for all of you today, thank you for spending your Sunday out with me, many of whom I understand have made arrangements to have alternative services for your church outing. I would also like to share with you a little story. It was also, this is a page from the blog of our minister, Mr. Corbin Wan. And what is not really known behind the story is that there was a discussion with the late Mrs. Lee Kuan Yew, and she spoke about butterflies, her attempts to attract more butterflies to Istana Domain. And what is not really known was that the curator immediately called me after that and said, you need to know all the species of butterflies in the Istana Domain. Can you please come and do a survey? And members of Butterfly Circle, those of you who are in the picture can remember, back in August 2006, we did a survey at Istana. Okay, and that's a picture for posterity. Okay, my personal interest in butterflies started way back, about 40 years ago. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. So 40 years ago when I was in school. And we didn't have intranet, computer games, PSP, iPhones, you know. But we had a lot of critters out in the backyard to engage us. We spent a lot of time out there, longkang fish, dragonflies, fighting spiders, and of course butterflies. So I spent a lot of my time out with a little plastic bag trying to catch butterflies. And it was my father who first bought me a net and also a butterfly book to fuel that interest. And as my mom reminded me, my dad also went out and got a carpenter to make 10 boxes. I mean, for a little kid at the point in time, I had 10 boxes to pin my butterflies very systematically. You know, of course today I use the camera rather than pinning them, just to be environmentally correct. And until to this day, I'm proud that my dad still supports me. He's here in this room. Pa, would you like to stand up? My dad just celebrated his 83rd birthday last month, and he's still supporting me today. It's very apt that this book is one of the showcases of Singapore's flora and fauna, and to be launched in the International Year of Biodiversity. Despite intensive urbanization in Singapore on this little island of ours, and I'll show you the number of species that we have competing with different countries. We start in Australia, it's 7 million over square kilometers, 416 species. Japan, which is so much bigger, only has 250 species. Our neighbors up north, they're more fortunate. In fact, many of our Butterfly Circle members travel up north regularly to shoot the very exotic looking butterflies in Malaysia. Poor New Zealand, only 17 species. You know, that's one place where Butterfly Circle members will not migrate to. It's practically nothing to shoot. Great Britain with 56 species. Taiwan doing quite well, foreign over. Hong Kong, which Singapore is always competing with for everything from economic success to population and everything else, they lost to us. They've got only 240 species against our 296 and counting. So you see, Singapore is very fortunate with only 700 square kilometers. I was just told that it was updated to 710 square kilometers today. We are always expanding, and we have 296 species, almost 300. So we are endowed with a very, very significant, rich butterfly biodiversity in our country, little island. City in a garden. Through judicious management, our National Parks Board has increased the green cover. There's a picture taken in 1996, and the blues are areas which are not covered by green. And a satellite photograph taken in the year 2007. Look at how green Singapore is. And with more greenness, there will be more areas for our biodiversity to thrive, provided we manage our pollution and pesticide control on our island. Over the years, as I did surveys for our National Parks Board, I'm happy to note that the number of species has been gradually increasing. Not because they were not here, but it was a baseline survey from which we took the early researchers' checklists. So in 1996, when I first started, I started documenting the number of species of butterflies in Singapore, and it steadily increased over time. With more Butterfly Circle members, we had more eyes and ears on the ground. And of course, people who specialize in the life history, breeding caterpillars, to be able to establish, at this point in time, 295 species in Singapore. And it's going to increase because even as we launched the book, we already had about 2 more species which we are studying and possibly new. So we could look at edition 2 of the book very soon. Of notable interest, of course, I'll talk about a bit of the species that have visited us. Note that I use the word foreign talent. So these are species that have come over from the Indo-Australasian region How they arrived here in Singapore, I don't know, but there was a theory that because of the cross-border trade in horticultural products, landscaping products, plants are coming in. You know, for example, this last one feeds on various types of ornamental palms. So they could have been imported from Indonesia, traveled to, from Australia to Indonesia, and Indonesia to Singapore. Okay. Today, all these three species have taken up permanent residence, and probably on the way to become a citizen of Singapore. SM Go will be very happy to hear that. They are relatively common, some of them seasonal. The next group, in fact, as far as Sri Lanka and Thailand, they are already common in Singapore right now. So they migrated either naturally over the years through Malaysia, but they are part of the Singapore butterfly fauna today. The Tawny Costa and the leopard lacewing. And then we have even visitors from afar as the US. Okay, and these two shots, I must say, Sunny Che, one of our most prolific butterfly circle photographers, took this, one at Punggol, one at Mount Faber. Okay, but unfortunately, this American lady didn't find it suitable, and she left after that. So she's, we've yet to see her again soon. Okay, one of the frequently asked questions that people ask, like, what's the difference between a butterfly and a moth? There are 125 known families of the group Lepidoptera, which butterflies and moths come after, of which only 6 families are butterflies. So you know why I study butterflies and not moths. 125 known families, I would probably need a few lifetimes to do so. So I